Hi everyone, so we are on, I think, is it part 4 that we're doing now? I can't keep up. This is the colour along that we've been doing from Stjärnfall, or Falling Star, by Maria Troll. And this is how we have left the page last time. So we've got all of the hills coloured, everything's coloured apart from the castle, the boat, the girl, the bunny and the flowers. And I want to make sure that any other colours that I'm adding to this are going to be repeated somewhere else on the page, because I feel like that ties the illustration together when you limit your colours that are used. So I did actually think about having, saying that, limited colours, I did think about having rainbow flowers, you know, with rainbow petals. I don't know whether I want to do that though, because like I say, it's adding more colours into the mix, and is it going to be too much? Because I think we ought to make this into a proper sort of Disney fairy princess kind of page, because she's obviously a princess, she's got the little crown on, we've got the Disney kind of castle in the background, and it's quite vibrant, the colours that we've used. And I think maybe making the castle nice and princess pink would look quite nice on this fantasy page. So do I do rainbow flowers or not? You know what, I'm going to colour the castle first, because I know I want that to be pink. So let's do that first, then we can make the decision afterwards. Right, I've got my Black Widow family chart here. I'm just going to put the grass colours to one side, and let's look at the pinks then. So I want proper girly Disney pink. Now these kind of pinks go into the reds, and then as you move along, the pinks start to go into purple. So I think I want more of the reddish tone of the pink rather than a purple tone. So we can either go for something over here or something here. I think the brown bugs might just be a little bit too dark. These are quite nice as well though. These are very girly and bubblegum pink. I'm just trying to see where I would skip colours, because we've got a very small space to work on, so I don't need a big long blend. So I'm trying to see where we can skip colours and still get a decent blend. So plum pudding and rosy are very similar to each other, so I wouldn't want to use those two because there wouldn't be anything to differentiate really. We could go for let's see. We could go for cyanide pink. What a name, cyanide pink. And then I wonder if cyanide and bubblegum would go. I don't know, there might be a little bit too much difference. Let's get the pencils out and then we can see. So cyanide and bubblegum. I've got my pencils to this side of the camera, that's why you can't see what I'm doing. Let me try and find them now. Cyanide. And bubblegum's a bit further this way. I've got them all ordered in my pencil case in the same order as this chart, so I can find them fairly easily. So we've got the cyanide and the bubblegum. Now we need a bit of paper to practice on, which I never have to hand. What's this? No, I can't use that. The day that I'm organised is the day you know something's wrong. Right, let's try this. This is a really smooth paper, but it shouldn't matter just to see the colours. So we've got the cyanide and then the bubblegum. They're pretty nice together. I think for that small space on the castle they will work. The only thing lighter than the bubblegum that we've got is this hot pink over here. So let me just grab that and see if we can get 3 colours in a blend. They are still quite similar though, to be fair. I'm going to leave these 3 colours out though, because I think it might work. These 2 are very similar. But let's just see how they look on the actual page. So I'll give them a bit of a sharpen. This one's pretty sharp. This one's sharp, but it's like, it looks like it's gonna break. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so starting off with our darkest colour as usual, we're gonna start with the cyanide pink. I'll zoom you in. And I just want this to be a completely pink castle. I say that, but I might do purple roofs. Completely pink castle, but purple roofs. Let's just do the castle and see. So I think I will do, start from this edge. It doesn't really bother me going over the lines. So I hope everyone's okay, everyone that's been following along with this colour along since we started it on the live stream. Hope you're all doing okay. All the kids are back to school now, so got a little bit more free time. Don't forget this one at the back as well. You really need not be too precious with this because it's such a small space. If you can't get the exact ratio of blends that you want, then just don't worry about it. It'll look fine overall when it's done. So I just thought we might as well lean into the whole princess vibe that I feel this page has got. It's very sort of storybook like, I guess. I'll do these little bits as well. So, can you hear my dishwasher? I'm really sorry. There's always something going on in the background, but housework just never ends, does it? What was I going to say? Yeah, so I could have done a blend starting from dark at the top and blending down this way, so blending vertically or the other way around, whatever. But I'm starting to do this horizontal blend because these are rounded objects. So this might be really obvious to some people, but not to others. So I always like to try and, you know, tell you exactly what I'm doing and for the reasons why. So I'm starting at each edge of the turret with the darkest colour and going to the lightest in the middle so that it looks a little bit rounded. Obviously we've got a really small space, I keep saying that, so it's not going to have an amazing effect, but hopefully, you know, it should be okay. So I've got the bubble gum now and I'm just doing my absolute best to colour just a slight bit more into the centre of the white, but not, you know, fully colour it. It's very difficult. Sharp pencils are a must for this. I think the dishwasher's stopped now, so that's good. If you follow me on socials, you'll have probably seen that I've been colouring a lot of beauty of horror images lately. I have, for some reason, hyper-fixated on the Beauty of Horror tarot book, which is all that I'm colouring at the moment. I think it's because they're quite quick and snappy, and I've got it into my head that I want to complete all of the, how many major arcana cards are there? I think, are there 20? I don't know. I want to colour all of the major arcana cards, and then I'll probably put the book away for a bit, probably for another 6 months. But I've sort of hyper-focused on that book at the minute, and I'm getting one done pretty much every day because they're so quick to do. Some of them have a lot of black on as well, so there's not actually much for me to colour. So I don't know, I've just, I've got it into my head that that's what I'm doing. I want to get the major arcana out of the way, and then that'll be it. I can move on to something else. So if you are totally sick and tired of seeing these Beauty of Horror images popping up every day on my Instagram, don't worry, it will be finished soon. But I do enjoy colouring them, I have to say. Right, we're on to the hot pink now, which is in the Monarch set. Don't think I mentioned what set these are in. The cyanide is in Black Widow Original, and the bubblegum is in Cobra, and this one's in Monarch. So again, I do want to try and leave a bit of white in the centre because that will just maximise the shine. And I don't really know why a castle would be shiny, but why the hell not? It's fantasy, right? So it could be shiny. It could be made of pink glitter for all we know. It doesn't matter. So again, just really trying to... Oh, not left very much white on that bit. Trying to colour them in whilst still leaving a tiny little slither of white in the centre. That one's just too close. You can skip some of them if they're just too close to add this third colour. It's not going to make much of a difference at all. I'm going to go back to the cyanide though, because when you start adding lighter colours, you often notice that the very dark edges of your piece have been, what's the word that I'm looking for? Bleached, not bleached. They've been lightened by the lighter colours that you've used. So I do always like to go in and further define the darker edges, because having that bright white in the middle of the paper, oh, I've gone over the edge, and really dark edges just gives the maximum amount of contrast. Hopefully you can see that it does make a difference to do that. I don't know how well Black Widow pencils erase. I can't remember from doing my tests on the pencil if they're a good erasable pencil. I'll have to get my little eraser out in a minute and try and just get rid of that little bit. It doesn't matter too much. I'm not sure what we're going to do with the sky yet. That's my only thing that I'm wondering about. So I've got a little eraser here. This is a Tombow Mono Zero eraser. I just want to make sure it's clean though. So let me grab that back. Oh, I can see how it erases actually. Not great. It might be able to just lighten this tiny little bit enough though that we don't really notice it when the sky's there. That's not bad. I think my problem is that I'm just too quick, you know, and that's why I end up not staying in the lines. Right, so hopefully you can see that just adding that second layer of the cyanide pink at the side really does heighten up the contrast of the shine of this shiny castle, which we don't know why it's shiny, but it just is. I'm just going to add a slight bit more of this hot pink just into the centre. Right, I did say about purple turrets, didn't I? So let's have a look at the purples. You can see. So really all that we've got to play with is either a really desaturated grey purple, which I don't want, or a bit of a reddish purple, which I don't want, or we've got this, which is more of a true purple, I suppose. Some of these are red leaning, but that's all what we've got. So I think I'm going to go for Space Grape. Space Grape. Is there anything lighter? Probably have to skip over to this Purple Haze, which might just be okay, because even though it's quite grey, it should look like a lighter version of the grape. So Space Grape and Purple Haze. The first one on there is the grape, so I'm just going to try and find it. Oh, there it is straight away. Grape, Space, and then nope, Purple Haze. And these are from, oh, they're all Cobras. So if you've got the Cobra set, you're well in. Okay, so I'm going to give these a quick sharpen, mind your ears. So space was the darkest one, wasn't it? It's hard to tell sometimes. So we go space first, darkest first. That's just how I do it. You don't have to do it the same way. And I think we'll do pretty much the same thing as we did on the turrets. So there's just not enough space. Not enough space for space. So just along the edges of the triangle. And we'll do the bridges in purple as well. I just thought to myself, I don't really have to erase that bit that I went out of the lines on, because I might do a bit of a very soft pink glow around the castle. That could be nice. Unless I do a gradient sunset. I'm not sure yet. And the next is the grape colour. It's the tiniest bit of that because we've just not got room. Down here we've got a bit more room. And then the purple haze. Again, trying to leave a bit of white in the centre as much as is possible. That might not be very much, but try not to worry or focus too much about the little details, because I know that I'm zoomed in on this castle right now and it's probably looking quite messy close up because I'm not really careful when I'm colouring. But you know, when we zoom out and you see the picture as a whole, your eye is just sort of, it forgets about any imperfections. Oh, see, I've just gone onto the green as I said the word imperfection. Your eye forgets about that and it just sees the picture as a whole. So try not to sweat the small stuff when it comes to colouring. I think that looks pretty good. I don't know if I'll be able to sort of polish this purple with this green. I don't think so. This green seems a lot darker than when I actually used it. That was the lightest one, wasn't it? Green grass, forest. I think that was the lightest green that I used. Anywho, we got a white. That might help. Let me just grab the Prisma white for now. I'm going to cheat. See if we can just cover up. Oh, I can't stand it when it snaps. That happens to me quite a lot when I'm colouring, because I do tend to use a harder pressure, and I know I shouldn't. I often get them occasions where, just like then, I'm colouring something and it snaps, and then I end up colouring something else on the page and it's super annoying. Just seeing if I can cover that a little bit. Sort of blend it down to everything else. That's not too bad. You can still see it a bit, but I'm not fussed. Right, so that's the castle. What about the windows? Should we have a bit of yellow on the windows, do we think, just to make it look like there's somebody in? Tell you what we can do for that. I've got a little yellow Posca. which might help because it's such a small space for a pencil to get into. Let's try a little bit of yellow Posca. Oh, that's a bit too much. Here we go. Okay. I feel like there's just a tad more shine and white showing on this one, and it's distracting my eye. So I'm just going to make it a bit thinner, like all of the others. Okay. So we've got some little bits of yellow in the window. What about the flags? I think they've got to be pink flags, right? So let's get the bubble gum, see if I can just very quickly colour in these flags because they're so small. There is absolutely nothing that can be done to them. I mean, I can try and put a little bit of cyanide pink, but it's not going to make a lot of difference. They're just too small. Okie dokie, so that's the castle. Let's zoom out. So you see what I mean about, oh, am I, no, I'm not. There we go. So do you see what I mean about how it's like the picture as a whole? You know, that looks quite nice when you look at it sort of further away. When you get closer, you start to see all the little bits that you've got out of the lines on. But anyhow, what next? What about, do we think the sails of the boat should be pink or purple? What about the dress that the princess is wearing? I feel like she's got to be wearing a pink princess dress. It almost looks like she's got a pyjama nightie on. I feel like this is early morning. She's come to sit down in her pajamas and just looking at the kingdom. I don't know why. That's the little story that my brain has made. So I think we might as well do her pajamas while we've got the pinks out. So we're going to start with the cyanide. And we'll put some of this deepest pink into where the shadows would be. So it's going to be the shadow of her hair, which, I don't know, I think she's probably going to end up blonde. Just thinking about contrasting from what's going on in the background. We've got a lot of brown on the tree, so brown's kind of out. Red hair might just be a bit too much because it's going to be the only introduction of orange that we've got on this page. So I think probably blonde. I mean, she could have blue hair. We all know, you know, we don't have to stick to the norm, but I want this to be quite a traditional picture. I mean, traditional. I've just done a pink castle. Okay. I don't know, maybe that bit of her dress would be a different colour. I almost started to colour it, but then decided not to. I think I'll just do right at the bottom here, just a bit of a curve of shadow. I'm not the best at judging shadows and highlights, so they just go where I think, and that's that. Next is bubblegum. Again, the main skill, I guess, of my colouring is literally just going from darkest dark to lightest light. That's how I colour everything. You know, unless it's something that's got a texture, like for instance the sea or the pond or whatever here, and I'm trying to create a texture on it, then it's usually just a blend from dark to light. But I would like to start experimenting with blending outside of families, because I think they're quite boring sometimes. I mean, they're gorgeous, the families, but it can be quite boring to the eye just to see the same undertone going from light to dark. I've seen a lot of really talented colourists on Instagram who just add loads of different colours, but as like a very light, transparent, sheer layer on top, but it just adds that extra little bit of something different. Like I saw, was it bee wings? I think somebody was colouring bee wings, and they had all kinds of colours in there, but it looked real and it looked more interesting than, I guess, a straight, very light blue might look. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Hopefully you can understand. But yeah. Then we've got the hot pink, just to finish it off. Obviously we've got a little bit more room to play here, so you will be able to see the differences between the tones that we're using. So that's quite soft. She has got some green there, but I don't think there's anything I can do about that, so it's got to stay. So I'm just using this lightest colour to soften up the blend as a whole. Because we want it to look cosy and comfortable. These are clothes that she's wearing. It's not a piece of sheet metal. It's got to have very defined highlights and shadows. So even though I am leaving a little bit of white, I'm sort of hazing the pencil over that white area. And hopefully that creates a softer look. So we've got the princess dress. I'm just thinking about the little hem at the bottom. I think probably that should be purple, just to tie in with the castle, I guess. Space then. I'm just going to go up alongside those little lines that Maria drew in the dress, the little folds and pleats. Then the grape, again, really sharp pencils needed. And then the purple haze just to finish it off. And again, you can use that purple haze just to, you know, make the blend a bit smoother between all of the colours. But at least it's still got that very slight bit of light colour in there that shows you the individual pleats of the skirt. Okay, so that's the skirt done. Do I really want the boat to be the same colour though? I'm not sure about that yet. And when I'm not sure about something, I'll leave it till last because I want to do everything around it first. Let's do her blonde hair. So looking back at the chart, let me just zoom you back out. Kind of princessy, golden, sort of Rapunzel blonde. You're probably looking over here actually in the more ochre tones. So let's say, I wonder if we can jump from pastel lemon to mustard. And then mustard will want something. I'm looking for a colour that I don't think exists in this set. I'll look up here as well. No, they're too bright. Pastel lemon, mustard. Stink bug may work. Let's have a check. So, where are you? I actually think I have put the yellows at the front of my case. Pastel lemon, mustard, stink bug. Can't find him. Light yellow, mellow yellow, sunburst. What comes before these? Olive brown, suede. Oh, here we go. Mustard, pastel lemon, and oh no, I thought I was missing stink bug then. Okay, time for sharpening. Stink bug's getting quite short. Okay, so with hair, I often like to just give a bit of a very light all over spread of colour. Now you could do this with a very light yellow marker, like a water-based marker, just to base it. I can just see all of these bits of blue. I'm going to have to try and get rid of those. Let me zoom in again because I forgot that I zoomed out. So a very light all over base coat. Then I jump right over to the darkest one. And with hair like this, obviously it's just lines, isn't it? So we don't have to be too worried about, oh, snapped again. We don't have to be too worried about what it looks like, really. So I'm just trying to go pretty hard over the top of that blue to see if I can get rid of it. I wonder if the eraser might be a good idea for that. Got some green down here as well. Should have done this step first. So again, just a bit of light pastel yellow. Back with the stink bug then. So I'm now going to follow some of these lines down and try and make it quite narrow so that it looks more of an individual strand of hair. And I'll do the same here. So keeping to the left side, we end up with a lighter part in the centre. Now you could also do your darker colours where the hair dips in. So this is like the bulge of the curl where you'd probably have a highlight, and this is the dip where you'd have your shadow. So you could do it like that. I'm just going to do this in lines because I think that's what will suit this illustration better. This bit looks like it's overlapped by this section, so I'm just going to make that a little bit more shadowed, that area. Same down here. I mean, this line art is very simple line art, so it's not like we have to worry about getting realism. That's what I really love about Maria's images, is just the fantasy nature of them and the simplicity. You can kind of do what you want and it's still going to end up being a gorgeous page at the end of it. I think it's very much worry-free colouring, Maria's illustrations. I do have a brushing brush. I do have one of these, but I just tend to just blow. It's quicker than getting the brush out. Oh, I just wanted to thank you as well while I'm here. I've just remembered, because the last video that we did on this book, I was talking about my presumed ADHD. It's not diagnosed, but I have sort of gone through the diagnostic questions and tests online, the ones that the NHS use, the doctors use, and you know, there's no blood test for ADHD. You know, they've got to do it through diagnostic testing. So I've done all of that and it's come out that I am ADHD, but not officially diagnosed. But anyway, I mentioned it last time and I was saying how I just can't seem to stick to things. As much as at the time I'm 100,000,000% I want to do this, you know, I'm not lying to you all when I say let's start a colour along and it's you know, going to be done immediately and whatever. I really am into it, and then after the first few parts I just lose the interest. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for the comments on that video, because I've had quite a few from people who feel exactly the same as me, and they go through that kind of mental battle with themselves and constantly berating yourself mentally, like, oh, you can't get anything finished, you know, just constantly going on at yourself all the time. And that's what I'm like mentally. So yeah, I just had some really nice comments and I just wanted to give you a little shout out and say a big thank you, because it does make me feel better to know that you understand, because you've been through it yourself, so you really truly do understand. And I believe that people can sympathise, but they can't empathise and truly understand unless they've been with, you know, in that same situation themselves. I'm just gonna have a drink. So yeah, just massive thanks for your support as always, everyone. Oh my gosh, since I started this nearly 10 years ago, this whole colouring journey, oh, people have just been so good to me, so nice to me, and it's really, really nice to experience that, you know, when you don't experience a lot of it in your real life, but you know that you've got these people that literally sit and you're in their homes, you're on their screens, and they're watching what you're saying, and if they can just sort of get anything from that helps them with their lives, that's like my biggest achievement. It's not numbers or subscribers or anything like that, it's being able to connect with people in that way, especially when it comes to health, because a lot of us have got chronic kind of health issues going on, whether that's physical, mental, whatever, and that's why we've come to this hobby. So it is so nice just to have that little community. Blathering on now, but I think I want to put a bit of the middle colour in. So this is mustard, and this is just going to go right on top of the edge of the line where I've put stink bug, and it's just going to blur that colour out a little bit. So it's going to go in between the stink bug and the, you know, the line, because then you're left with just the pastel yellow on the very edges, and it's just those little chinks of highlights that will make it look like it's got some flow and some dimension. So right on the edge of that stink bug, but still leaving the tiniest bit of pastel yellow showing through. Easier in some places than it is in others, because we've got thicker areas to colour. So I know that we've got a bit of a mess up here and there's a bit of blue there, but again, when you've pulled out of the page as a whole and you've looked, you know, at everything, you're not going to notice these little things. I think that's quite nice. We've got some highlights showing through, and it's got some depth as well, but not too much, because it is blonde hair after all. It's not brown hair, but it's very much that golden tone of blonde, which is what I wanted. All right, so we've got a crown here. We need some glitz and glamour on that crown, don't we? I think I might leave that till last, because I always end up putting on the wet media, the glitter paint and things halfway through, because I can't wait to do it. and then I end up smudging it, or, you know, it just moves the glitter particles. So we will leave that to the end, but I want a really nice glitter, sparkly, goldish hat, crown. Bunny rabbit should be super easy. We want a warm grey for us bunny rabbit. So let's go shadow and skip to dark grey. That should be fine. If I can find them. Shadow, dark grey, sharpen. These are both from the Monarch set. So like I said, she could have had red hair, but I didn't want to introduce orange. But obviously this is a very warm toned blonde. It's not an ash blonde. So there is a slight bit of the orange in there. I may emulate that colour at the top on the flowers, just to tie it in. But anyway, grey rabbit. Doesn't have to be grey, but I always seem to colour them grey. So yeah, this is the shadow colour. And we are, ironically, using them, well, not ironically, because I'd be using them for highlights if it was ironic, wouldn't I? We are aptly using them for shadows. So, using shadow for shadow. I'm so dumb. Okay. So, just a little bit of shadow. To be honest, I don't really know where the shadow would be, naturally. So I'm just doing bits here and there. Okay, and then the dark grey, just like before with the mustard, we're just blending the edge of the shadow colour out. But we still want to leave some white for our contrast. And really it's a very, very quick thing to do. We don't need to have any bells and whistles on this bunny rabbit, and I can't get rid of that bit of blue on there. That will have to do. Here we go, it's quite cute. And do we want a little pink puffy tail with our lightest pink, which is the hot pink? Yeah, I think we do. So let's have a little pink tail. Again, with some white in there just to have a bit of interest, a bit of difference. There we go. So we've got our rabbit and our princess. Let's zoom out, see what we're working with. Okay, so flowers. I think if I do rainbow flowers, it's just going to be way too much. You're not going to know where to look. It's not going to be cohesive. So I will table that idea for now, but I would love to do rainbow flower petals on a different page at some point in the future. So what do I do the flowers? It's got to be something kind of in this palette, this warm yellow kind of ochre-y palette, but that's not great. An ochre is not a great colour for a flower, really. If I did pink, would it be too much pink? I'm trying to envision pink flowers. But then her hair is going to be the only element of that colour on the page, because I'm not going to do an ochre yellow sky unless I do a sunset. But I feel like this is early morning. I don't know why I've got that feeling. I'm thinking way too much into this, aren't I? I'm properly overthinking what should be a very simple thing. I think I'm going to have to go for yellow flower. Like, they look like roses, right? So the yellow rose, that's a thing. Yellow rose of Texas. So yeah, let's do that. I think that'll be all right. So let me grab my yellows again. Let's do one sort of quick and see what it looks like. Let's take this one here because I think it's got the least amount of petals. So we'll do this one really quick. So I've got the stink bug. And I'm just doing all the deepest parts of each petal, like the ones that have depth into the centre of the flower, so the inner bits. And then we've got the mustard. So I'm doing dark to light again just for these roses. But I definitely want some white on here because I do want the shine on the tips of the petals. There's a couple of different ways you could do these petals. You could start with the same kind of thing I've done, but then also do the stink bug on the top of the petal and meet in the middle with the white stripe. But I'm just doing a simple, you know, in to out, dark to light blend. Pastel yellow. Hold the phone, I've just had an idea. What about some yellow, some pink? That would look nice, and it would be different rather than having them all yellow on the top, which I think would look nice. All of these kind of very pastel yellows, that would look nice all along the top, but it might be a bit too much, do you think? If we did like yellow, pink, is that going to look too much though? Yellow and pink. I just second guess myself all the time. Does anyone else do that? Like, you just don't trust yourself to make the simplest of decisions. See how light and delicate this flower is, and I've not zoomed in. Oh dear. There we go. See, it's very, very delicate, but it does match the hair, you know? So at least we're sort of using colours that are corresponding to another part of the image. I just can't decide whether I should have some pink and purple in these flowers or whether that would just take away from the pink that's the castle and the princess. Let me just have a minute to have a look. I think I'm going to do them all yellow. There's probably a lot of you screaming at me saying do them different colours, but I really like actually this combo of the very light yellow, and I think all of those would look nice in that same palette, so I am going to do that. I'm going to keep them all yellow. And then with the sky, because we've only got these 2 or 3 elements of pink on the page, so it's looking a bit like, why is it there? I might do a pink gradient of some sort, so a very, very light pink, like this hot pink. Is that the lightest pink we've got? Yeah, so this hot pink, I might do some sort of gradient. What would pink would normally go into like yellow or red, wouldn't it? Pink. And I can't really make it yellow because the flowers will be yellow and I want the contrast. Imagine if I did a pink and a purple sky. No, that's too much. Where's my colour wheel? Okay, how do we get pink into blue? Because we've got blue in the water. So pink will be over here with the red, won't it? It's got pink on the other side. Yeah, over here with the red. So if we want to get to blue, we've got to go through red, violet and purple first. That might look a bit weird. I did say I wanted it to be early morning, didn't I? So you'd want very light, soft, dawn-like colours. You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to find a reference photo for a dawn sunrise sky that's got some pink in it and some blue, and sort of take it from there, because I think I want pink and blue on the background, but I don't want, I might have some yellow in there for the sun, but I don't want too much yellow because all of these are going to be yellow. So it might be that I kind of have to do it in streakiness, like the clouds of a morning, you know, and it looks quite streaky. I might have to do that. I've been talking so much during this and not actually colouring. I'm so sorry. It's just finding out what I want to do. What time are we on now? So it's almost an hour. So I feel like I want to keep my parts to about an hour. I think we'll just need one more part for this, because I am going to colour the rest of the roses in off camera so that we've got all of the yellow roses done, and literally all we've got left to do is the sky and the little tiny bits like the boat and the hat, the crown and the little flowers. I mean, they're going to be yellow, I know that, so I'll just colour them in the same colours as I've done that. So rambling on. Right, thank you so much again for watching and listening. And yeah, next time will be the actual final part of the colour along, and it will be mostly the sky. So I'll have figured out by then what I want to do with it. And yeah, just thanks so much for watching, supporting and being a good friend. So yeah, thank you, and I will see you soon on Colour with Claire.